Okay, I'm going to move on now, and I'm going to talk specifically about real lean in QA. And I'm going to start by going back over a really fundamental lean concept, and that is leveling. So on the screen, we have a sinusoidal curve. What it describes, or what it is intended to describe, is volatile workload arriving at any function. That could be a laboratory, it could be a QA function, or whatever. But it simply depicts the fact that the rate at which work arrives to any team is variable. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. So that's what the black line is. The green line then is what we call the leveled demand rate. So it's the median, or it's the average, if that's a normal distribution. And what that's saying is, on average, that is the amount of work that arrives in every day or every week. And then the purple line depicts the typical resource level that the function will carry. And you'll notice that it's higher than the level demand rate. And the reason it's higher is because we know that if we only carried enough resources to meet the level demand rate, then we would frequently be late. And the gap between the green line and the purple line is excess cost or it's lost capacity, whichever way you look at it, because you're carrying more resources than are actually required to deal with the level demand rate. And what leveling is about, really, is about getting those two lines as close as possible to each other. And in order to do that, you need to come up with what we call leveling solutions. Now, even though the typical organization carries more resource than appears to be required to do the work, when there's a peak in arriving workload, nonetheless, the function is late, it runs late. And similarly, at a time of when our incoming workload is very low, the productivity of the team is very poor. So that begs the question, well, what can you do then? What's leveling about? What is it possible to do? And it's very simple, really. So the first thing that you can do is you can design a way of working that means you do a day's work every day, a week's work every week, a month's work every month. So that's the first thing you can try to do. The second thing that you must do is you must make sure that the genuinely urgent items are always tackled first. So we'll talk about that quite a bit more later on, because it's very, very relevant in QA. So we do a day's work every day, and we always do the most important items first. The third thing we can do is, when we're working, we can try to work on a good batch size. So whatever the task is that we're doing, we can try to work on a batch size that allows us to be productive. And the final thing that we can do at a high level is we can set out to perform tasks in an optimum sequence.